What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I want to talk a little bit about the negotiations. So we're now hearing that the White House is talking with Senator Manchin, Senator Sinema. The White House is also talking with the progressives and moderates. And so now we're getting somewhere. Now we're finding out the details when it comes to what they want to leave in this second infrastructure bill and what they want to take out of the second infrastructure bill. And so that's what we're going to discuss today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about news that matters. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture in the comment section, make sure you also see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so right now, the White House is playing a big role. They are in there and they're really starting to negotiate with these different lawmakers. And this is good news because this means that hopefully we're getting closer to some type of a blueprint. So we'll know exactly what's in this second infrastructure bill, because we knew what was in the second infrastructure bill about a month ago, but a lot has changed. And we're going to go over exactly what we've been hearing about when it comes to the changes that's being made to the second infrastructure bill. So let's go ahead. I want to just switch over to my illustration here. Now, I used this same illustration a month ago. Okay, so all I'm doing right now is I'm going to update the different where we stand when it comes to some of these different issues here. Now, I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to work my way around, and then we'll come down to the gray area, because the gray area, those are the different proposals that we heard about 7-8 months ago, and now we're not hearing too much about. So it could be a situation where those things will not find their way in the second infrastructure bill. And the second infrastructure bill, this is the $3.5 trillion bill. This is the human infrastructure. So you have the first infrastructure bill that has been approved in the Senate. It's now sitting in the House, and we're working on that second infrastructure bill. Once that second infrastructure bill gets approved, then they want to pass them both at the same time. And I'm even hearing talk that the White House right now they might work on that first infrastructure bill and tell the House, hey, look, pass that first infrastructure bill. And the White House will say, look, to all the progressives, the moderates, the people who are kind of on the fence right now, if they don't want to move with that first infrastructure bill without the second, I think President Biden is going to play that mediator and say, look, let's pass that first infrastructure bill with the promise that that second infrastructure bill will pass soon after. So that's kind of the strategy right now that I think they're going to start to talk a little bit more about, because the president wants a win. He needs a win right now because his approval rating is really starting to drop. And so they need this. This is going to be something big for the American people. And they think this would definitely help when it comes to re-election, as well as when it comes to the midterm election. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at where we are right now. So universal pre-K. So universal pre-K, the good news is we haven't heard anything really of them wanting to take this out. So it looks like this will still be in the proposal, the 2 point, or I say 2.2 to 1.9 because that's where I think we are. But when it comes to that second infrastructure bill, I think that this is going to stay in there. Now, 2 years of free community college. Guess what? At the current time, the talk is that they want to take that free community college out. So that might not make it in this proposal here. Paid family leave. Now, paid family leave, what they want to do, and I'll put a question mark here, is because the talk is they want to reduce it. So have paid family leave, but make it 4 weeks. So we're going to have to see how they negotiate this, but that's the talk right now. Now, the federal support for child care and elder care. This, I think, will stay in. I haven't heard anything about them taking this out, and so we're going to stick with this staying in the proposal. Now, the convert to fossil fuels is okay. So when it comes to clean energy, let's just talk about that. I'm putting a question mark here because when it comes to clean energy, you have Senator Manchin who has some reservations about this. And so this might be a situation where they're going to have to negotiate some of this stuff out when it comes to clean energy. So we're going to have to see where they go with that. The extended child tax credit, we are going to put a question mark there too. And so I just realized that you guys were off the screen. You couldn't see the illustration here. But when it comes to the child tax credit, it looks like they want to make it more targeted. They do want to means test it. And this is coming from Senator Manchin. Okay, now let's move forward here. And I just left this on here because this was talked about 2 months ago. Okay, so we're hearing about the $600 to $1,000 Medicare voucher proposal. And actually, it wasn't even 2 months ago. It was like a month ago. And so let's hope that this is still in there. I'm going to put a check mark because I haven't heard them say anything about this not being in the proposal. So we'll keep it. We'll keep a check mark there. Now, Senator Manchin, we know Senator Manchin is looking at a top line of $1.5 trillion. We know the White House right now, they're looking at a top line of between 1.9 trillion to 2.2 trillion. So that's what we're looking at when it comes to that. Now, some of the things that are not being talked about and haven't been talked about for a while, the first thing are the monthly payments. Okay, so this is a big one. I know a lot of people wanted the stimulus payments, the monthly stimulus payments. Progressives were talking about this 7-8 months ago, but you do not hear progressives talking about this anymore. And so that is really not a good sign when it comes to that. Same thing when it comes to a forced stimulus check. When it comes to a forced stimulus check, progressives 7-8 months ago, they were talking a lot about this. They were sending letters to the president. At the current time, you do not hear that talk. So it's probably not going to be in this proposal. Now, looking at when it comes to a raise, a $200 raise for Social Security. Now, this was talked about. We had Senator Elizabeth Warren talking about this during the election year in 2020. And we also heard President Biden mention this as well when he was running for president. Now, you're not hearing about that anymore. That doesn't mean that it will never happen, but I do not see this being in this proposal that they're talking about right now. Okay, and you have to understand this too. They're cutting a lot. Okay, they're cutting down from 3.5 trillion to maybe a 2.2 or 1.9 trillion. And so that means they're taking from the proposal. They're not adding to the proposal. And so if we haven't heard anything about these different proposals, then that means that they're probably not going to find their way in the 2.2 trillion. We'll just take the top line, $2.2 trillion bill. They're not going to be in there because they're at this point now, they're pulling away. They're not adding to. Okay, now these two things, they've been talked about in the past, and I don't know if they'll be in this proposal. I don't know if they're going to be in the second infrastructure bill, but I think that they will find their way into another reconciliation bill. Maybe the reconciliation bill, if they work on one in 2022, which they have the ability to do another bill in 2022, maybe they will find their way in that bill. And we're talking about the Supplemental Security Income Restoration Act, which we've heard some lawmakers talk about, as well as Social Security. They want to increase it to 100% of the poverty level. So both of these will increase to 100% of the poverty level. And so we'll have to see what they do with that. But I think that it'll probably be something, a standalone in 2022. So that's what we're looking at. And as you can see, when I zoom out here, a lot of the stuff that we were looking at before when it comes to this second infrastructure bill, a lot of this stuff is either questionable or it's not going to be in this proposal. And so we're going to have to follow it, see where it goes. But when it comes down to it, they're making a lot of changes. So the plan is for October 31st for them to have this all done. Okay, so they'll know exactly what's in the second infrastructure bill, and hopefully they'll be able to vote on the first infrastructure bill, vote on the second infrastructure bill, get it to the president's desk. Now, if they can't come to a blueprint of the second infrastructure bill, or if they can't put this on paper and actually vote on the second infrastructure bill by the end of the month, I think what we'll start seeing is we're going to start seeing President Biden coming out saying, look, you have to take my word on this. Let's pass that first infrastructure bill so we can get those jobs to the American people, and then we will work on that second infrastructure bill. We already have it on paper. We know what's in there. We just need a little bit more time to get everything together and then move forward. So that's what I think we're looking at when it comes to that second infrastructure bill. And this is very, very crucial. And I've had people ask me, why are you talking about this? We just want to find out. When it's done, let me know, kind of attitude. But you have to understand, when you talk like that, you're looking at a situation where you're just going to accept whatever goes through. And we do have power as constituents to contact our congresspeople. So it's good to know what they're discussing. So if it's something like, let's say, free community college, and that's something that's very, very important to you, and you hear that that's on the chopping block, you can contact your congressperson and let them know, look, I want this in this next proposal, and this is why. And if a lot of people are doing that, guess what? Some of these politicians are going to look at that and say, you know what? we're going to have to rethink this whole free community college. And I think we need to add it back into the proposal. So that's why it's important to follow these proposals as they go along, because if you just wait and say, well, just let me know when it's done. Well, when it's done, it's done. When it's voted on, it's voted on. When the president signs it, it becomes law. And that would be a situation where you could miss out on some of the things that you're really interested in. So if you guys have any questions, post them down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.